You are now listening to Tribbles and Ecstasy, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is Admiral James T. Kirk of the Federation Starship Enterprise. Your presence here is an act of war. You have 2 minutes to surrender your crew and your vessel, or we will destroy you.
Admiral Kirk, this is your opponent speaking. Do not lecture me on treaty violations, as this broadcast is intended for mature audiences. In the following podcast, there will be thoughts and opinions expressed that in no way reflect your Federation, this station, website, or affiliated partners.
Who is this? How dare you?
Who I am is not important. Listener discretion is.
You Klingon bastard.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Tribbles. Her ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new content and new stuff, to follow the girl where no podcast has gone before.
Another night of Tribbles and Ecstasy. Hey, 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 hey! Hey, 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 hey!
Hello and welcome to episode 167 of Tribbles and Ecstasy.
Hello.
Hello. I'm your host, Midnight Shadow, and with me today we have Dr. Trekkie,
Hello, everyone.
we have Skipper,
Howdy.
we have Woody,
G'day everyone.
and we have Sunseal.
Boy, what a week it's been.
Indeed. Okay.
Someone get a batch of rum in an ale.
Oh, I think we'll need a few crates of that. I
Well,
certainly
they're
did.
still handing out Sealess personal stock.
Well, first of all, they are doing Star Trek Online News. They are doing a Lobby sale. So there is a 20% discount off all ground gear. 20% off all space gear and 40% off all ground gear. So that's running from now until
Generally, it's Monday at 10 a.m.
yeah, it's usually Monday, isn't it? So if you're listening live and you want to get something from the Lobby store, now is your time. Next up, new pilot ships. Now, we talked about these last week. Now, we've had a couple of blogs out, which is about the art of the pilot ships and the making of them. And we see some more sort of sketches and things like that.
I do have to say, though, I now understand. I now understand why people like the Klingon ships this go around. It's because they said their main design or pull from design was the SR-71 Blackbird, and that is a beautiful fighter ship.
I've always liked that ship. As a kid, I had a little toy plane of that, and yeah, that's my favourite. So, but thinking about it, when you look at it now, it's just like, yep, you can definitely see that design in there. You can see where they came from with that. Thing is, we knew they'd obviously come from the Defiant, with a lot of the Federation designs and the fighters, and it was very interesting to sort of see how they got to what we've got. So, but yeah, they're nice blogs to read. It sort of tells you a bit more about sort of the ships and the maneuvers. If you haven't tried them out, I think you probably still can get them from Tribble. You should be able to get them on there to test them out if you haven't got them on holodeck. So if you're not sure you want them, but yeah, I have had a lot of fun in my pilot ship. I love the new maneuvers. It's so much fun flying them. Definitely has been a good fun.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how they seem to get their inspirations from. Because with my Romulan and Greenman, they pretty much fly around the same ship. But there's a science for variant that with looking at the wingspan of this particular ship, I'm trying to find out is if you look at the wingspan and you look at the wingspan of the Airbus A380, I think I know where they got their inspiration from with the wingspan or pretty much the design of this particular ship. So,
But yeah, definitely give those blogs take a look at them. Links, as always, will be in the show notes. We found out a bit more about the new featured episode that's going to be released. I've also seen today that some of the devs are actually doing some play testing on it today. And Captain Gecko actually tweeted out a video of the bloke who does the voiceover. Name's escaping me now. He played the gorilla in The Flash recently.
Gorilla God.
I don't know because I don't keep up with those kinds of things.
Yeah, he did the voice for Grodd in The Flash recently. And David something. It's escaping me now.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. We got information about this new featured episode.
Yeah. So David Sob Oliver. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Sobolov. So, but yeah, he's been sort of Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, the animated series, and Shockwave in Transformers Prime. So he's done some voiceover work, and yeah, Gecko actually put out a video that is put on YouTube, which is of the voiceover part of the featured episode.
Well, you also have to remember, if he's putting out a video now, this has to have at least been recorded a couple of weeks ago.
Not necessarily.
Well,
you mean the actual thing itself? Yeah.
Right, right. A lot of because the way an episode is designed, it's all fleshed out, and like the voice acting is usually the last thing that gets implemented.
Yeah, no, they were tweeting about him doing that about 2 weeks ago. I think it would have been now 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, I'm just going to put the link in the chat. And I shall also add it to our show notes. Yeah, people can take a look. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be Klingon-centric again. So the blog tells us...
Hey, at least it's more Klingon content, right?
It is. No matter what faction you are. So it's a way that they're getting more Klingon content in without it being just Klingon. So, which is good, because a lot of the time, even you tend to get a lot of these missions, especially recently since Legacy of Romulus, it's either sort of more Romulan centric or Federation centric sort of thing. So I think it's good, and especially as we're going to war, it's sort of fitting that it's more Klingon. But yeah, this blog's about the Iconians arriving and basically.
I agree, Orangitis. I want those batleths. Because it looks like somebody just took pieces off of the herald ships that were left floating around, and literally just shaved them down into batless and said, "This is my weapon now."
So, but yeah, it tells us about the House of Hague. I don't know how you pronounce the Klingon. Basically, it's the secret house. So they're sort of elite warriors, and they're looking to basically take the fight to the Iconians rather than sort of being more on the defensive.
Well,
So,
for those who haven't read, this is basically supposed to be the house equivalent of Klingon intelligence. I mean, it is Klingon intelligence, and it's its own house.
yeah, because I wasn't sure if they were sort of more, rather than Klingon intelligence, they were more sort of like Section 31 for the Klingons. That's how I
It's
sort
possible
of
that
read
it could be
this.
both.
Because it's the secret house, and yeah, because it's like Section 31, because you've got Starfleet intelligence, and then you've got Section 31. And the way that, after reading this, it made me think that these were the sort of Section 31 group of the Klingons, because they were, we do this, and it doesn't matter if we don't sort of get the ultimate glory and battle, and it's not sort of honourable what we're doing. We need to win the war. So if we go to Stovall or not, that's for other
Yeah.
warriors.
Well, no, that's from the Tales from the War blog. That's the feeling you got, but that was Klingon intelligence.
Yeah, that's different. I mean,
Yeah.
in the blog, it's well, I mean, we all know, like anyone in Klingon society that's not a warrior is not looked upon favorably. So
See, this is why I
it's
say
the same thing.
This is why I say intelligence, like for the Federation, Starfleet intelligence and Section 31. There really is no difference there, because both have to be so intertwined within each other.
I don't know about that. I mean, Section 31 is always that was essentially the literary device of having really nefarious things happen in Starfleet. One of
I mean,
them.
come on though. It would be it's not too far of a stretch to have the whole the Harry Potter secret hidden underworld thing inside Starfleet intelligence though, right?
I mean, Section 31 was everywhere, right? So I don't disagree with you. I just think they're very different.
That yeah, the fact that they're doing some play testing now means it's not far away. And yeah, I think in this this blog, they actually put the date. I think it's actually this coming Thursday, the 21st, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, this coming week, we'll have the new featured episode.
But this is also another hint we've mentioned a long, long time ago that the developers are going to redesign First City. It seems more and more clear these days that they're going to blow it up or destroy it, just like they did Earth's Starbase.
Well,
Yeah,
they've already
they
done
already
that.
destroyed it.
Yeah, they've already done that in the Q'd mission.
Oh yeah.
In
Well, this will be the second time it's been destroyed.
They're definitely gonna do it. They've got to redo it because it's so old and blah. So
but of course they'll do the new First City, but of course then you'll get the people saying, well, why can't we have the old First City for people starting off, because otherwise it makes no sense and it ruins my immersion. It's just like, seriously.
Yeah, well, I know it was a simple fact that probably say turn around and say, well, we don't have the tech for that.
Well, we know they can have different maps available. They've got that for Ryza, but it's just if you're only able to get to the new First City once you reach level 50, level 60, all that work that they'd put in, so many people are not going to see it.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a much smaller amount of people because at that point, so many spoilers will have gotten out and gotten to you if you're a new player that it's hard to really keep those things under wraps.
Yeah, and the amount of time that you'd end up seeing the old First City if you didn't just put it live, it's the same with the new ESD. It really isn't worth not having the new one there. I know, as people say, immersion, but it's just like seriously, it's a computer game. There's only so much things. Even in Star Trek itself, there's always things that they did or went back on that people said that it did exactly the same.
Does anybody remember? Does anybody remember the launch or space dock?
Which one?
The one that came out of beta before we had the mushroom again.
The roulette wheel?
Yeah, essentially, there you go. And then they brought us the mushroom. And to be honest, the interior for the mushroom was also redesigned as well from the original launch ones.
They redid the mushroom about 3 times? Is that about right?
Well, the original Earth space dock, the one that started at launch, was a lot like the Earth space dock that I knew, but it wasn't one big ring all the way around. It was a central hub, and it had the little pods on the side were like ramps that you went up to, and each one was different. So one was medical, one was engineering, and all that kind of stuff. Then we had the mushroom, and then we had the ring, and then we had the whole invasion by species 8472, and they blew it all up again, and we have our now Earth space dock.
Didn't they rework the mushroom because people complained about the size of it?
Yeah, they did do a change because I think that's when they also added the fountain as well, didn't they?
Yeah, so there's a couple times, because remember, they removed the original shipyard, like, twice.
Yeah, but that was
And
the
they also-
interior rather than the exterior, which was the main, because they did. Because didn't they update and make
They did it
the
at the same
exterior
time, I
nicer?
believe.
Yeah, with the latest after Undine attacked it, revamp of the space dock, they've also made the Soul sector, or Soul system block. They changed that to the scales and stuff like that, so you can't do a fly around planet Earth now, which
Yeah.
really enjoyed doing that because I don't mind going down to Australia with my ship, and I've taken a couple of shots from down there with my ship. So
I kind of miss flying to the moon. Does anybody miss that?
No,
never tried that.
I never really did it. I think I went over to the moon and the other side of the Earth once the entire time.
Like, there was even a little moon base over there you can see the little lights shimmering from, and now the moon is much, much further out.
And my graphics card never showed that at that particular time. But no, hopefully, as we've said, this will mean we will get a new First City coming sometime in the near future.
And if not, we're getting motorcycles, right? Right?
Oh, I say once. Saying like, well, even is it the Argos?
The Argo?
The Argo, that's it.
A dune buggy inside of a shuttlecraft.
That'd be so much fun just to have some sort of mini game where you could do races on those as well.
Well, we kind of had those on Rice. That's called powerboarding.
Yeah, but still, it'd just be fun to have sort of cars. But yeah, we also mentioned the other role-playing blog that's come out as well. So yeah, give that a read. This is of course all leading up to the featured episode that is coming out this week. So
The
now,
actual lore blog was wonderful, though.
it's just a shame that we get these only as blogs, that they don't find a way to get this into the game, because those stories are just so good. It's a shame that the writing, which, well, I'm assuming that it's Christine that's doing these, or at least for the most part. But yeah, it's even if it's just a console, a bit like, in the Romulan Reputation, when you unlock certain things, you got a little bit more of a story.
Well, hasn't it been like when the past couple of seasons and releases that when they start the thing, there's this whole last time on Star Trek Online kind of thing that goes on, right, with a little cutscene and everything. Couldn't they kind of do that? I mean, literally, couldn't they do that when they have like a new lore blog?
The thing is we're getting more and more of these blogs out, and they're just not making it into the game. And I think it'd be just nice if we could.
Well,
So,
and see that's another one of those things where it's not making it into the game, and because stuff like this that is kind of interesting and neat isn't making it into the game, people really aren't feeling as connected to the Iconian War as they also didn't feel connected to the war between the Federation and the Klingons.
but no, I hope they do find a way to sort of bring it back, because even if it was that you could go somewhere and it's just through dialogue boxes rather than actually cutscenes, it wouldn't be as good, but at least the information would be there. Or even a bit like you've got the Path 2409, where you collect data pads, which could be linked to extra commendations and things like that.
Oh, well, yes, and those actually tell a story if you sit through and read them all.
Exactly, and they did that with the Voth battleground, didn't they? You'd actually go around and collect pads which sort of said why they were there.
Well, it wasn't just that. They did it on New Romulus, too. There are, like, I think 8 or 9 different Daewin lore panels in the Phaos Caverns. It's
Yeah,
like the last days of the
I've still got about
Daewin.
2 or 3 of them to actually find.
And then there's the when you get the Romulan research tokens, the actual research tokens, you can turn those into a duty officer in the staging area, and you're essentially getting pre-lore for Mol Rihan at that point. It's like Path to the 2409, but it's essentially the history of this planet itself and what it means to the Romulans.
I don't know, I think it's preference. I actually like reading it just on a page like this. I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I know, but it's not everybody reads them, and after the launch has gone, how many people will actually see it?
Well, and then there's another problem.
Exactly.
There's another problem as well. Stuff like Path to 2409 and Last Days of the Daewins and all this kind of stuff. You have to hunt to find that stuff because it's all in your accolades.
Mm.
There's no easy way to access any of that whatsoever.
Yeah, but no, I think it would be nice if some of this stuff, if it was actually put into something in game, because it is good writing, it's good stories.
I really like this one because I mean, I don't know, a lot of players, especially the people who are really heavily KDF, are the whole honor and glory and da 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 kind of thing that the Klingons are known for. But this is the kind of writing that proves that those other Klingons that aren't like the warriors and everything still exist. And even though they don't get the limelight like they do, like B'Elanna talked about in Voyager, they're still this heavily integral part of the Klingon Empire altogether.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, we've talked about it now, so you never know, might spark some ideas, might be something they can fit into the game at some point, but I suppose the issue always is they spend time doing that, it's time away doing something else. But I think it would be nice for new players, especially that aren't here for launch, that they actually can get this storyline, because yeah, new players to the game, they're not going to get it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but there'll be stuff for them too. I just it's interesting. Our conversation today is a lot about immersion and what's important for new players, and I don't know. I don't think that's really the focus. There is a lot of trade-offs there compared to what you have to do for sort of your current audience. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we've had some release notes for Thursday's patch. They have now implemented the new Pearl buyback store, but we'll get to the pearls in a moment. They've resolved a load of issues to do with lag, and I've also seen some photos posted from those EP, which is showing the very big A4 piece of paper full of issues to get rid of more lag as well. So it's their lag hit list, I think it was called.
Server latency hit list.
That's the one.
You know what? They should like just kind of name a whole bunch of the heralds these issues, so we can shoot them ourselves.
Yeah, I've brought the Twitter up and I put it up on Twitch. But I really like to ask this question to these guys. Seeing this list on an A3 piece of paper, in reasonably, not so large font, and it's quite a decent sized list. And that's all I really wanted to ask the question: why on earth did you let it get that bad? Honestly, I've actually, yesterday I've actually heard of people actually starting to leave the game because of this lag and all that. It's just getting too bad for them, and it really makes me think: are they, tackling this the right way? Because I know that, like a long time ago with past interviews, mostly from Priority One when they visited the studio, is when we're talking to QA is, well, if you're the one who's got this problem and stuff like that, it's your problem, not ours. And it might be just a simple fact that this is an early stage of a lag problem, or this latency problem. And getting around to dealing with it, because even for myself, I had this problem since season 7 where the game just keeps freezing up on me. My whole computer just freezes up. No sound. Screen freezes like if I took a screenshot. Can't use my keyboard, can't use my mouse. Only way I can get out of it is to restart my machine. My PC. And I've been on the forums quite a numerous amount of times and stuff like that. And the only way that it actually finally got fixed, didn't get fully fixed, because it happens probably once a month still, where the game just freezes up on me. It got fixed when everyone started to have this problem when the winter event came along, and there was a big forum post about it. And I even put a comment in of, this is my video card, put my video card down in video card. I said, but I've been having this problem for 20 months now. And now that since everyone's got it, they've finally decided to do something about it. When they're sort of like, really, guys, come on,
Well,
this could have been solved a long time ago.
Well, lag is caused by all sorts of different things, and from talks that I've had with various people there, that list is also, they've been doing a huge investigation due to sort of the sort of major lag issues that they've had when it actually comes to sort of the stuff since season 10. And sort of there are things which they've also sort of found out. But the thing is, yes, you've had problems, but the thing is, you may have given your information, but it doesn't mean that they've been able to replicate the issue that you have had in order to fix it. Now, with more and more people experiencing these issues, more data can be looked at and investigated, but of course it all takes time. Now, we've been asking, why is it taking so long? Because they have been taking the time to properly research this and to dig into the data, and they will have a ton load of data to mine through. And I know from stuff that I do with that, it's not a quick job.
Oh, I know it's not a quick job, especially now. But, I was thinking it probably would have been a lot more easier if they had a bit more of a reaction time to when people actually start first doing this.
But Woody,
Even if it's just one person who's got this problem.
But they're not in control always of what they have to do. And speaking as a manager of sort of similar teams, I can tell you that when it comes to new feature versus bug smashing, it's not even a question of what developers want to do. And also they have other pressures potentially to release things on schedule. So a lot of times these things get overlooked. I don't really think it's them in there, being lazy.
So it's the oversight thing, is it? Okay.
We don't know. I mean, we're just speculating here with no knowledge, right? Like we don't know. But
Well,
I don't think it's as clear cut as like they just ignored it.
Well, something that I've said before a long time ago on this show. It's the small things that makes all the difference at the end. It's like if you got a job at a factory, if you've got nothing to do, you pick up a broom and start sweeping. You don't just stand there and twiddle your thumbs. You keep active and keep productive. So that's what I mean by sort of like the small things makes the difference.
Yeah,
Because
but we have no
people
idea
look
what
at you for doing the small things, not the
I
huge
wouldn't
mistakes.
claim that these developers are sitting around doing nothing. I mean, we have no clue. We have no clue.
I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not pointing fingers and making accusations.
Plus,
That's
also
just
a lot of this stuff, the bugs that you find here probably have nothing to do with the stuff that the developers do. A lot of the stuff that happens, especially to do with latency, will be to do with the engineers for the hardware and things, the network, and have nothing to do with the artists and the people who are making the maps. They don't have access to the information that needs to be sort of gone through. So just because,
regardless if it's a dev, the guy who cleans the toilets, or the guy who does the gardens and mow the lawns out the front, they all got their place and all part of the cog of the wheel. So if one fails, the whole wheel fails basically. Surely there should have been a little bit more motivation behind this instead of having this big latency list. Hopefully some people could probably start learning about this and maybe react to some of these things a bit more, a bit more proficiently instead of having this big A3 sheet of paper stuck up on a whiteboard.
Do I need to get some more popcorn? Because this is awesome.
Well, I mean, we're arguing about stuff we don't know about. That's what's so crazy to me. No. Like, I totally agree you're frustrated, Woody, but we don't know how it works. We don't know how their development team runs. We don't know how
I don't know how it works, but I know.
But no, I just think you're simplifying it far too much, Woody.
Yeah.
Well, I like to keep things plain and simple.
Yeah, but they aren't always plain and simple. That's the thing. I know from scripts that even I have written, things are happening and people say, this isn't working. And it could be, people say to me, right, well, it's not working. This is the browser. It's like, well, I've tested it in that browser. It's working and it's on the same operating system. But it could be something related to a strange add-on or a bit of hardware on their machine. But trying to track these things down, the fix for it could be nice and simple. But I first of all got to isolate how and where it's going wrong, and that can take weeks sometimes. And in the end, it could be something so quick it literally takes 5 minutes to fix, but to know what that 5 minutes needs to be spent on can take so much time. And you can't
Yeah.
just drop everything else just to say, I'm going to find this one thing.
Yeah.
When they
And there,
can, I'm sure they do work on it.
I'm sure they will too, but put in simple words, I'm seeing a picture of this big, huge list of problems. I was thinking, how on earth did it get this big without someone noticing and reacting to it?
Yeah, but the thing is, all those ones on that list.
That's my little thing, my little beef about this.
Yeah, but everything on that list is just something that is
it's
causing
just
it, not
it's just
something that is a
stupid
big
to me.
part of it, more than likely. So they have identified probably all these other things which could contribute to it.
Beep, fire at will.
So they're going, right, we've found out that this is an issue. We're going to tackle all of them, not just tackle the big ones which are causing the major latency. So I wouldn't just say that it's gotten this bad and this is absolutely everything.
yeah, and I wouldn't say that these things were unknown, because I imagine this list existed or was growing, and there might have been other priorities. And honestly, there's a lot of times I've faced sort of dealing with a bug or having us stay on schedule as a group. So it's possible that this time now was planned to address these bugs after all the recent feature updates and things. I mean, we don't know. We don't know.
Regardless of what you say, I reckon it's absolutely ridiculous.
It's not pretty. I
Because
would agree with you with that.
sure. I do IT. My little business from home is doing IT. But I don't do the big management things. No way they'll. I'll get a job working at Cryptic doing IT. Simple as that. Hang on, I got a cough.
I don't see why not.
I see, but I get computers from home computers of people who just don't maintain it. I've grabbed computers saying this is slow and stuff, rah, 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 rah. And I go through the process of using CCleaner, malware bytes. I don't know if you guys familiarise
Sure.
with Revo Uninstaller. Uninstall whole heap of stuff with. It's a very good program for uninstalling junk stuff like toolbars and whatnot, but it also gets rid of all the registry keys as well, and anything that gets left behind. I clean all that out, and next thing you know, the machine's like brand new. So it's still like you let this get this that. It's still like surely you guys could manage it a little bit better and maintain it a little bit more better than just having this big whopping big list that everyone's complaining about, and people even leaving the game over about.
Well, to be honest, I see this to Cryptic the way you see a person who does that to a computer you service. They let it get this bad before they go, hey, we need somebody to come and fix this because we don't know how to fix it.
Exactly.
But at the same time, they're still doing all of their normal stuff.
Yeah,
so
and
even while they're doing all this bug fixing and having somebody come and look through all this stuff, they're still in the process of making more bugs because new content.
and they might not have money, or they might have bandwidth for the people or staff or time to fix these things. So I totally understand what it's just hard to scale up from a single system to a complex system. And we just don't know sort of what the priorities are and what they're on task for. So it's hard to say, but I totally agree. It looks embarrassing. And it's not great, but we just don't know the specifics.
But whatever the case is, it shows they have identified a whole heap of issues and they're now dealing with it. And the most recent photo that was actually tweeted out was actually of one with a load of the stuff actually crossed off.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Maybe the devs should go down to New Romulus and grab one of those bug sprayers. That might help.
Maybe they should hire Woody for motivation in the office. I think that would be good, Woody. You can get a free ticket to USA.
He would be Gordon Ramsay in that office.
I'll just stand there with a tub of Vegemite. So, do you want to eat this? You know what to do.
Well, from one controversy into another, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
well,
let's go
it's
on.
good that you got my understanding. It's so like, surely you guys could have done something a little bit better than this than just having this one big whopping A3 piece of paper with about 100 problems on it.
I agree.
I'm not going to count one by one.
Now
but,
that we've practiced and we've prepared, let's go to the next fun topic.
Yeah. Well, on Thursday, I had fun on the forums.
Well, I helped in getting the show going for a little bit more than an hour and a half, hopefully.
Now, it was announced on Thursday that the summer event prizes are changing. So they are not returning the old ships, and any old pearls that you had cannot be used for the new one either. So, yeah, a lot of people were not happy with these changes, to say the least.
A lot of people with pearls in their mattresses and mayonnaise jars are not happy, I guess.
No, well, I myself have actually got 1,000 plus in my bank just for my main character alone.
Yeah, I got the feeling that's the reason why they're probably making the changes, because if probably a little bit flow on with the statement that Slimy Inferno put in the forums, it just feels like they're probably just trying to stop people from doing this big pearl haul and just popping in just to get the ship and moving on. They want them to be a bit more interactive with it.
That's a fallacy. That argument is a fallacy, because one, they're spending the 1,000 on day one.
Here we go again.
They have the ship, but they're still going to run the missions, because that means they don't have the 1,000 for next year.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that they have to. They could decide to do that next year, so they're not actually getting into the game this year.
But at
yes,
this point,
there's going to be people who, of course, do, but they don't have to. And the idea is to get people in the game now. That's what Cryptic wants. They want people playing now, not deciding, right, well, I've done it last year, I don't need to bother this year.
But people are still going to play regardless. It doesn't matter.
No, they don't have to, though.
But yeah, well, I think it's more the simple fact is they want people down on Riser. They want people on the dance floor doing the leg kick and stuff
people
like that.
People are going to
they
be
don't
on
want
Riser.
People just to come in, get their ship
It's only people
and leave.
like Midnight who have 1,000 pearls already.
No, there's quite a lot of people who, like me, have the same.
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. It's pretty much just sort of like, in pretty simple words, the way the game, way it was designed, people are sort of like exploiting it, and they don't want the people to exploit it. The devs don't want people to exploit it.
Instead of making it 20 hours, make it a full 24 hours.
Don't think so.
Why couldn't they just remove it?
How is it exploitative for a person to run the mission all the times they're supposed to get the currency for the ship, and then continue running the mission to run a stockpile so that they can build up for next year?
Because what people are doing is, with the system they released last year with the alts, running it once,
yes,
is they were running it on multiple characters, getting 1,000 on multiple characters. So literally, somebody wouldn't have to play for years because they have enough pearls on multiple characters that they go in, day one, get the ship, they run the event at once on all the alts, they then have the ship. They don't need to do it at all for the rest of the event.
Right. So why couldn't they just either one, remove the alt thing, or two, because I actually don't play this event. Are the pearls not bound to character? So they're bound to account, right? So you can
No,
move
they're
it
bound
out.
to
Down the
character.
character.
Oh, then I don't get this because I thought that what you just said, Midnight, was the problem. That you go in with like 100 alts or whatever, and you get all these pearls, and then you have just one character buy the ship, and then all your alts get it every year.
Right, what was happening? Now, say for example, I myself, 41 characters. I run the 3-minute mission, get my pearls on one, and then I go through and I do it on a load of my other ones. Going through an event in 1 year, I can get enough pearls, which means I wouldn't have to play the event again because of my alts for years. Because what it would mean is next year, one of my characters, I log in, I get the ship using all the pearls that I've gathered on the previous year. Then all I do is run it once on all my alts and I get that ship instantly.
Right,
One
so
day. And if I've already got the pearls, it's gone.
Okay,
I don't...
so you admit to doing the content. You admit to doing the content in forethought of the years to come.
I just kept doing it in case I could use them next time.
So you admit to playing the game, not in any exploitative way, but playing the game, being down on Risa and doing the content.
Yeah, but son, he only needs to do it for 1 year. That's the point. If he grinded all his alts 1 year, then if he had 41 alts, he'd be set forever. Then
well,
every
if that's
year,
the case, why in the hell have they started handing out these leg up missions where they hand us 400 of them to begin with?
They've done that once.
I mean, that doesn't even make sense. I mean, I understand that there are people who are doing all of that. Well, okay, if there are people who are doing all of that, have that run be a once per account run, and once it's unlocked, everybody can claim the ship.
Now, the problem is also when they first started doing this, it was always stated at the very beginning that the ship would be available for this event and this event only. Now, because of problems with servers and things like that, I believe at the time, they had actually gone back on that and actually said, right, we are actually going to this time allow you to get last year's ship. Only thing is, every time the new event came up, even once Gecko said on Priority 1, we will not be allowing you to get the previous ship. But then when it got released that following Thursday, you were actually able to gain access to that ship. Now, whether or not that was done by accident or it was a final change for whatever reason, but the intention was always there and always specified the ship for each event would only be available for that one event only. It was never specified you can get that ship next year if you don't get it now. People have assumed it has, and people have collected in case it can be used. Just like me. I log in every day, so I just played the content because I enjoyed doing the little missions. So I collected the pearls, and if I got to use them again, then great. If not, never mind. It wasn't something that I was relying on. Now, I understand because of real life, there are going to be people who haven't been able to play in the past. But it's like if you go to a fate, you take part of an event and you get some rewards, you can't then expect that rewards that you didn't get on that previous fate to be allowed to get on next year's fate just because you were there. You get whatever the reward is for this new coming up fate with what rewards they have. So why people are expecting to be allowed to get them all the time when it's never been specified, It's just puzzles me.
Because
It's
they've
just
been because they have launched contradictory to that for so long. That's the issue. Because against what they've said, they have implemented the service to be backwards compatible. To
now.
go back and get the other ships.
Now, yes, they have done it, but they've never said that will always be the case. They have never once specified you will always be able to do this. They have allowed
they've just
it.
always specified, hey, you know what? You can run it after you get through because you can save up the marks for next year.
But they have never said that you can get it next year.
That's not my argument. That will never be my argument. My argument is the problem is exclusivity. That they have constantly said, this is a ship that we're never going to offer again. You better get in and get it now. Well, now, I don't even know if I'm going to run most of these events anymore. I mean, so sure, you want to get players into the game. Cool. That ship better be something I want, because if it's not, screw your event. I'm not going to go into an event where 3 times yearly, because the way they keep talking about this makes it seem like they're going to change not only the summer event, but the winter event as well, and possibly the anniversary event. With this changing currency yearly, yeah, this better be a ship that I want, or I'm not going to participate.
Now, one of the things that they are doing, because they have listened to people's reactions, now they are working on a system that once you have earned a ship, that you will be able to get it from a store and it will be account unlocked. So if this year you unlock their brand new shiny ship, you can then get it after completing the 1,000 pearls on one character. You can get that ship for every character. So whether it's a new one, you can get that ship at any time because it's just simply through the store. But if you're not about for that event and you don't complete it, you then don't have access to it. So then only people who are around and actually put the time in for that specific event will be able to get it.
I just really think this is kind of funny. This is hilarious. That they would implement this system with ships and, all the, the season 1 stuff, like the Tanagra and all that kind of stuff. They just gave that out to like everybody not too long ago, and that was supposed to be like season 1 exclusive stuff.
Yeah, but that was 5 years ago.
Well, no, something that's exclusive kind of should stay exclusive, right? I mean, I don't have
like the buff ship.
Right now. I kind of don't have access to the EMH console because that was a pre-order thing, if I'm not mistaken. The whole thing about the red matter capacitor, that was the buying the deluxe edition thing, and in very rare instances is it handed out. So not everybody has it. So it's still an exclusive kind of thing. And so but you're going to hand out all of this stuff from 5 years ago because it's 5 years ago and you're doing this new thing. Yet you want to keep making more of this exclusive content, and exclusive content that isn't stuff like, oh, well, it's just a console, or it's just a badge and a couple of little medals or a suit or something. No, this is a whole damn ship. This is a whole damn ship. And you know what? If this ship has a console that comes with it that is tied into the previous 2 Rycian ships, guess what that says to new players who just got through with all the Delta Rising content? You're screwed. Welcome to the game.
Who says they can't add the console to, say, the Lobby store? So people can still get the set, but they won't get the ship.
That's if they can think that far ahead of themselves.
That's if they have the forethought to implement that.
Like I said, that's if they can think that far ahead of themselves.
Exactly. Because at this point, what you're talking about is taking away like a whole bunch of stuff that has been there year in year and year and year, because the same stuff that we really do have that's exclusive, they're actually starting to push into having us actually have, like, actually start handing it out to us. I mean, when we run the anniversary event, I think one of the anniversary events was the Obelisk. The other one is the Samsar. The other one was the Dyson. Guess where all of those ships are? In the low-buy store with better versions. And now you're talking about literally having people play ships and then just taking them away. It does not feel right to me, because, you know, not only does it kind of remove this aspect of, hey, this is your game, play it your way, and here are all these ships. This seems like a, hey, guess what? You know what? We're going to give you a free ship. You have to do this event for 25 to 27 days. By the way, if you get cancer and you're in the hospital, oops, oh well, you missed it by 1 day. We're going to take away the currency and cancel the project. Sorry.
But then if that happens and in real life you can't make an event, then same thing happens.
It encourages people to not play more than it does there to play.
But the issue that they found is that people weren't playing.
Because those people were insane and ground 20-something different characters to have the content. And that's right, Midnight. I'm literally calling you insane for having so many different characters that you ran that on. That just seems absurd to me.
No, I didn't say that I did run it. I only ran it on my main character.
I mean, I understand.
But I could have if I wanted to, and there's been lots of other people that have been doing that, which is why they're in the situation that they're in, where lots more people are claiming the ship, but a lot less people are actually playing the content.
And that's fine, because they actually ran the content.
But they're not running it now. They don't have to go and spend the time in the game right now, which is what they want. They want
But they
people...
still ran the content. How is this in any way a problem? A problem when it served their metrics that year, because all of those characters were playing the game. All of those characters were playing the game. They were doing the content, and they were stockpiling all of those pearls, all of that currency for the next couple of years. Cool.
But all their metrics are all to do with this year, not last year. They want more people in the game now. But if they're just going in on day one and then not bothering, their metrics go down. Then that's bad for the game.
Well, at this point, the fact that they had those metrics from last year and the year before, where people did do all that stockpiling on all the different characters that it makes it seem like this, those people ran that content and did nothing but boost the metrics for that year. So it only makes sense that there would be a fall off. Because if you're going to do this from now on, you're going to have a flat line in metrics for the next 5 years. I can guarantee that when an event comes around. Because one, people are going to hyper compartmentalize this event. They're only going to jump in, do exactly what they need to do, and when they're done with it, they're going to bugger off. They're not going to stay in and play the game, because the game becomes work.
Well, no, rather than them spending the entire time doing Riser and only Riser, they then go back to playing and doing stuff for reputation systems, for new characters.
I don't. Like I said, when all of this stuff started, I became when I started my first event, my first winter event, and then from the first winter event we got into the reputation, and then the summer event and all that kind of stuff. When all of this started, I became hyper compartmentalized about the special events because it meant I had to stay in one place, and I would only stay in that one place. Yeah, sure, I might go do an STF or something, and then come back and then run stuff for like the normal currency around the island because I wanted something cool or something. But at that point, I was literally there every time I logged in, and only stayed in a little bit to do what I wanted to do, and or not what I wanted to do what I had to do, and then I was gone. Waited a day, and then came back. You're going to get people who are going to do that.
Of course you are.
Well, it's
like
not that it's
treated like if they're just coming in to do their DOS, basically, pretty much trying to say.
That's exactly what you're going to turn this event into.
But the problem was, I wanted, say, to go to run an STF, but everybody was down at Riser because they were just doing that. It's almost like the game had stopped. By making this change, they make it that once people have done that, they can then get on and play the other game, and then there's people to play all the other events that we like to play, that we log in just to do normally.
That may be a decent argument, but I guarantee that's not what's going to happen. At least that's not what's solely going to happen.
Is if people log in normally once or twice a week, then they'll still log in once, twice a week once they've got their ship. That's not going to change just because they're not going to be on Riser anymore while it's still running.
I really think that this is going to be a problem. And yes, we don't have all that's going to go on right now or all that's going to happen, but I see this becoming a problem, not only out of people not playing the content down the road, but an explosion of design and storage debt. Because they always talk about having a specific amount of design debt for the year to do what they want to do. And yet, you want to turn around and make 3 currencies every year. Okay, what about the people who have leftover currency at the end of the year, if they have it? What about the people who stockpile?
There'll be stuff in the store that they can get for it, like the stuff from the previous polls. You can get specialization points and all sorts of other stuff.
Okay, that's one of the points I brought up. If you do that, that means 3 times a year if you're doing just the seasonal events. This doesn't even include if they're going to change the Mirror Universe event and the Crystalline Entity event as well. Because I don't know at this point. We don't know, but it seems like they're going to do this with the seasonal. So 3 times a year, they're going to change currency. People are going to keep that currency, one, out of novelty. This is I can't get this anymore item, so somebody's going to stuff a couple of each of the currencies away somewhere, because some people are just like that. 2, if you actually do implement an exchange store for leftover currency, you're already adding to an exchange system of thousands of things like Andorian phasers and prototype consoles and Nukara stuff and the reputation that people might give their stuff into. But because this is a seasonal event and you constantly change currencies, you're going to have to keep adding a currency and currency and currency and currency and currency and currency and currency to that buyback store, along with all the previous currencies.
Oh no, you just say that, for example, the specialization points, it's 200 pearls. So it doesn't matter which pearl it is, if you've got 200 of them, it just accepts multiple currencies of the same category. It doesn't have to be that you've got one, it doesn't have to be broken down that much. They don't have to do that. They just need to say, okay, you've got 1 pearl left over. Well, you can get 500 specialization XP for it.
Right, but at the same point, my point isn't that it has to divide it all up. My point is that it has to look and say, hey, you've got this currency and this currency and this currency and this currency and this currency. Do you know you can turn it all in for this?
Well, it doesn't need to look. You go to the store when you want to.
But the game does still have to relay, you have this, so it does have to look.
Also, the thing I was feel like thinking about here is you're probably bound to have a whole heap of people wanting to collect these pearls or wherever it's going to be, just so they could put it into this store too. So they're probably more interested in getting stuff for the store than what they probably are getting the ship. That's if it's just the part that's going to be taking.
And when that happens, when people actually start doing that because they don't want the ship and they start running the event just to throw 200 pearls into like getting a specialization point, at that point, I'm pretty sure Cryptic is going to say this was an exploit that was never meant to be intended. Bye. But you put it up there in the first place. The problem is when you create a system with the intention and what it actually does. If you change the system as it is now, and I'm not saying it doesn't need to be changed, I'm just saying if you change the system as it is now, and you keep going with what you've told us you're putting into place, which they're definitely putting into place this year. This is already like 3 or 4 weeks till the event. So this system is in place already. But if you keep going with this implementation and a person doesn't like the ship, what's to stop them from running the event and getting like 5 specialization points out of it? Or what's to stop them from, putting in the time and effort and saying bugger all to doing the ship in the first place?
But the thing is, in order to get 200 pearls, you're putting in time, and all of the specialization point system is all time-based. So whether or not you're running an STF and getting specialization that way, or you're running events within the game, it's still a time-based currency.
Well, and see, this also...
And given how they've also extended the specializations, so we've got so many more now as well, which is a system that will be added to at some point as well. It's not like people are going to run out quickly, even if they did end up getting 1,000 pearls, which got them sort of another few specialization points. That is only... If you did, say, get 1,000 and you got 5 specialization points, well, that's not even a full tier within one of the specialization ranks for most of them.
I know people who are crazy, okay? Let's just say that. I know people who are crazy. Before they even announced the pilot specialization, or it was right on the cusp of them announcing it, I had friends come and tell me, oh, this is good because it means I can actually play the game and actually get specialization points again. Because not having played Argala and all that other stuff, they were crazy enough to grind through the game and get like all 90 specialization points that they could get. And their XP was then going nowhere again. And, again and again and again, there's this thing where when players change the way they play in a system that keeps changing on them, and the devs don't seem to like it, or somebody in the design studio goes, hey, that's kind of wrong, you shouldn't do that. Well, you're the one that put it there in the first place with the intention of people doing it, only doing it differently. And now to have all these people, who may not even play the summer event because, people who are on the forum, some of them will literally drop an event like a hot potato because it's a cruiser, and they don't fly cruisers. Or what happens when when they have the next big design change for ships. The next big design change for ships was implemented through an event ship. Remember, we had the Plek Bresh had the rating bonuses before any other ship had rating bonuses. The Solanae ship had the secondary deflector, and now Science has secondary deflector. What happens when that ship comes and then goes away and nobody can get it again? Just because it was a one-time specific thing. What happens when they give us a tier 6 ship that has a very specific trait and then we can never get it again?
It's just because it's exclusive doesn't mean they can't make it exclusive at another point in time. It shouldn't be available each and every single year.
But that each and every single year is kind of exclusive because it's exclusive to the summer event and the winter event.
But if it's on every single year, then again, people will say, oh, well, I won't play this year, I'll just play next year.
That's why they keep making ships, is it not? The problem is they already have a new ship. They have a new ship. They've kind of said, with the fact that they're taking away the other ships, that they kind of have a new ship to sell us for this event. Why else would we be playing the content? But the problem is, people who are new to the game and they see something like the Rycian Corvette, the one that, the Tier 5U Rycian Corvette. Wow, where can I get that ship? Sorry, you weren't here. Screw you. I understand. I understand as a person who's played that content. Yes, it was a big hassle getting that ship. It was an even bigger hassle getting the Shell Grit, because that's back when you had to hold the 1,000 glossy photos in your inventory and then hand them all in. But at the same time, there are people who are going to come into the game, and right now there are thousands of more people coming into the game because of the Delta Rising event. And there are people who have played for like forever and have the Rycian Corvette and fly the Rycian Corvette.
Yeah, but the thing is who's to say, okay, they now offer this brand new ship this year, but then next year they go back to offering the Risen Escort, but it's got just a slight variation on an ability. So they can still get the ship and it's still exclusive, but they can't get it every single year. They can't get multiple ships.
Well, then say that.
But
tell us that.
Well, the thing is, we don't know what ideas they'll have for other ships next year. They know they're going to do an event, but they're probably not planning all the details for that one. They're getting this one done and getting ready for the sort of the winter event.
And then that's the point. The reason a lot of this has exploded like it has been because there's been this time and time again, this lack of telling us what you're doing. Just, hey guys, thought you'd like to know, we're taking the pearls away. Don't worry, we're giving you this exchange where you can turn in those pearls because we're kind of making the currency a yearly thing because we kind of want to even play them. Oh, yeah, by the way, we're taking away the other ships too. You don't tell people like that without telling them what the hell's going on, and it took Salami Inferno posting in the forums to give us a huge long list of, hey, we kind of thought this was going on, it's kind of a bad thing, and it's kind of your fault, all of you, not just a few of you.
Is what they should have done is actually posted the reasons why, but unfortunately they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't explain it properly in the first place, and
yeah, no, the explanation that was given should have been in the original post.
Yes, exactly.
It shouldn't have been left until the day after.
Yeah.
It took. I just can't.
It's an issue that Cryptic has. It's still like just a bit too much in the double handling with sort of things, where they had to elaborate a little bit more down the track sometime, because it just wasn't explained very well in the first place. So that's nothing new.
It's this. It's time and time again, Cryptic seems to have this thing where this mentality of it's better to apologize to the players and give them some kind of recompense than to even ever tell them what's going on. It just seems like that to me. They say, hey, we're doing this thing. Why are you doing the thing? That's why there's over 100 pages in the forums. Why are you doing the thing? Not, okay, you're doing the thing. Why are you doing the thing? Because that thing kind of seems unfair. And it's only after you get like 80 and 100 pages of people going, why are you doing the thing? This isn't fair, that somebody goes, oh, hey, sorry, we didn't tell you why we're doing the thing. Here's why we're doing the thing. Oh, and because there's like 80 to 100 pages of people going, why are you doing the thing? That's not fair. We don't like it. Oh, yeah, here's a little thing that we'll give you to try and compensate because we're nice. They literally had no intention of giving us the reclaim store for old ships. Until there was like 80 to 100 pages of people going, what you're doing kind of isn't right. Does it mean new people can get the ships? No. Does it mean that they have explained in much better detail everything that was going on? No. But there are people on the forums who read the kind of EP thing and go, oh, well, hey, guess what? We won. No, you didn't kind of really win, because a lot of those people who are so bombastic like that in the forum, myself included, has been, you're cutting off all of these new people from stuff we've had for forever. That's not fair.
As I said, they're only implementing what they originally specified was going to happen.
I mean, I understand that they want to make a change. Cool, make a change. And again, I've said this before, and I will continue to say this, because by now, this is something that's going to keep happening. Walk with us. Talk to us. Don't, just say, oh, hey, a couple of weeks before the event thing is coming out, we're making a change. Oh, yeah, that too. You're going to do nothing but cause ire in your community and have people walk away anyway. It is a problem Cryptic has over and over and over again. It's this, and I praise Cryptic when they do something that's transparent. And I give them hell when it's something that they've done and told us at the last minute of. And this is one of those things where you should be talking to us and getting design ideas back and forth within the community about. Saying, hey, you know what? You guys are making a lot more of this seasonal currency than we kind of anticipated. We really don't know where to go with this issue. What would you guys like to do? And from there, start a discussion. And sure, it could be, that when they're doing the summer event, they're working on the content for the winter event. Then bring it up then. Hey, we see there's this anomaly going on. Might change the winter event. Here's what we would like to do. What do you guys think? We want your feedback because we kind of care what you think. And over and over and over again, it's none of that. It's, oh, hey, it's a couple of weeks before the thing. Here's this information. Let's hope our marketing
That's not always
department
going
hasn't
to work.
screwed up.
They put calls out to that on every little decision they make. One, they're never going to get anything done because so many people are going to have so many different opinions. They're never going to please everyone. It's still going to be in exactly the same place. Yeah, that doesn't work for everything. You can't just keep doing that. All they can do is they're looking to do something. They have a look at what metrics and figures they have, and they make a decision. Now, yes, sometimes they end up having to change their mind because the idea they've got for the players, it does cause such a big backlash.
But see, that is the issue. That right there is the issue, Midnight.
I still don't see why.
They look at numbers. They look at numbers.
Look at an Excel spreadsheet.
They look at numbers, not the community.
Yeah, and so do accountants for business, and they make business decisions based on that. It's exactly how every other business works. I still don't see what the problem is. They do what every business does. They look at numbers and they make a decision. They don't go and take it to the public and have a big vote on which way they should go.
The most other businesses, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just, a little bit crazy, but I don't think Keurig has an online community, like an integrated online community of a fan base of Keurig coffee makers that they've had since the 60s.
Well, whether it's online or not, you don't get people going to a shop and then putting posters out saying, oh, we're thinking about doing this for this new product. What do you think? They have people who have a look at what things are in trends. They make designs. Somewhere somebody says, well, that's going to be too expensive to add on this. That gets cut.
Okay, if that's the case, and people don't show up for the summer or the winter event, are they going to change the winter event and the summer event, or are they going to remove it because it didn't sell well?
If people don't go and attend the summer event, then they will make changes to the winter event accordingly.
Because if you're a business and you're selling a product, something doesn't sell well, you don't sell it anymore.
Well, no, they'll work on making it better. Again, they will analyse the numbers and they will also have a look at feedback from that event, but they're not going to sit down and say, oh, we're thinking of this, what do you think for every little decision? Because nothing would get done. Too many people have too many thoughts, and no matter what they end up doing, it's always going to annoy somebody somewhere along the lines.
And yet at the same time, there are so many people who have well thought out points of interest in anything that could be implemented in a much better way.
Yeah, but if you have a look at that thread, we've got 130 odd pages. Now, out of those sort of 1,300 posts, very, very few of them are actually got proper situations. A lot of them are literally, I hate this idea, and that's it. You ask people what they think. To get proper feedback, it doesn't work all the time. When I'm moderating, we actually specify, please tell us this information. If you don't like it, tell us why. And you still get 90% of the posts just say, this is crap, and nothing else. Or, I like this. Say why you like it. Say why you don't like it. What would you do instead? But it doesn't matter how many times people are asked to specify and give more information, the majority of the people don't do it. So for them to turn around and every time they're thinking of doing something is to go and ask for people's opinions, well, it won't work because people are not going to actually give proper information. Not to mention that the information they are given won't always be something that can work with their systems, their thoughts, not their thoughts, the design of the game, or where the plan is to go with future content.
Okay, let me. Okay, just so I'm absolutely 100% clear, Midnight, are you kind of making a point to say that all the gold member players who may have access to Tribble when it's locked out might not be providing efficient feedback just because they put money into the game?
Well, just because they play on Tribble doesn't mean they give decent feedback. A lot of people who play Tribble don't leave any feedback at all.
I'm just my point is that the fact that when they do a lot of the season content, they lock out Tribble to sometime or a lot of times gold members only, and sometimes they'll open it up to silver members.
Yeah,
and those are people who have spent money on the game, like literally spent money on the game. Either to be a gold member, you either have to have a current subscription or you have to be a lifetime subscriber. Correct. Locking those kinds of people out. When you do that, sure, you're looking for a few people, but of that few people, there are people who are jerks that have a lot of money? Say that isn't so. I can't believe that there would be jerks online who have a whole bunch of money to spend. And this is me being sarcastic, okay? This is me joking, audience, okay? I can't, that there are going to be people who do nothing but vitriol just because they can vitriol. And yes, but when you have an idea like this, and you have people like Drow Rules Supreme on the forums, and others, like Iconians even had several good ideas. You gather those people together and you go, hey, you guys usually give us the best feedback out of everything. We kind of have this idea for what we want to do. Here's an NDA. We would like a player-based discussion about all of this stuff.
And for a lot of content, they do have a select few people who will go through and test these things. And even on Tribble, they will only have access to certain ships and things like that. But when it comes to some things, they won't do it for purely marketing reasons as well. They can't get a lot of people going, oh, let's go play this, because one of the reasons why a lot of stuff now doesn't go to Tribble at all is due to the fact people play it loads on Tribble, then they don't go play on holodeck at all.
And that in itself is also insanely stupid to me.
But unfortunately, that's what people do.
At the end of the day, it's their choice.
I know it's their choice, but the thing is, they want people playing on holodeck where they will actually spend the money for the microtransactions, which is what pays for future development of the game. And if people enjoy playing the content on Tribble when it's incomplete, and then they get to actually doing it on holodeck, and then they're thinking, well, actually, I've already played this. Yes, I didn't get all the cutscenes, but yeah, I will do that in a few months' time. They want people in the game when it comes to the launches. They want people doing these things together.
Well, no.
But unfortunately, that means that they don't get all the player feedback that they may want at some point.
See, that is another argument that's a fallacy. They want people playing the game, period. They just want people playing their new content now and not later. That's the argument. That has, wanting them to play the game, people play the game, regardless of what content is available. They want people playing the new content so they can sell the idea to other people that, hey, we have this content that a lot of people play. Well, no. If the argument is to keep them on the live servers and have them make the microtransactions, you just keep making the ships. You don't make an entire event of people having to sit there and do a thing every 20 hours to get a ship. You just keep making the ships to sell, and people will buy those ships if they like them, and people won't buy those ships if they don't like them. That keeps the money flowing. Where's this argument of wanting people to keep playing the game coming from?
Of course they want.
At this point, there's kind of Cryptic and Perfect World are being bought back into a private company. There's no investors to be beholden to anymore. At least not, maybe in a few months' time. There's really not these people that we have to appease anymore.
Well, they still have to make money.
Well, they make money. That's what the ships are for, are they not? That's what you keep saying. The microtransactions
But that's just
are their
one.
money.
The ships are just one avenue of sort of getting the money. The other is other microtransactions within the game.
Such as?
Okay, people have a character. They max it out, they start a new one. They then want to buy new slots for inventory and all sorts of other little things like that. They start a different class, or they, instead of doing Federation, they do Klingon. So they want to buy different ships. They want to buy different uniforms, so they get more uniform slots.
Right. And
they want people in the game. But if people aren't going to go in the game because they were testing it all on Tribble and they enjoyed it but they don't want to do it again now, well, then they're not in Holodeck where they're going to actually make the money.
But common sense says...
However, if I put it this way, the game, MMOs is pretty much in the entertainment industry, same as making movies, is theatrical and stuff like that. The simple fact is, they can spend all the money they can to make this film, but it doesn't pay off until you get people in seats watching the big screen. Sitting in watching the theatrical production and stuff like that. It's pretty much the simple fact of people sitting in front of their computers, having it turned on and logged in. More than just the simple fact of people doing these micro transactions and buying ships.
Thing is, more people in game, more people doing things like the microtransactions means we get more content at the end of the day. But as I said, getting loads of people on Tribble, they found again people were not doing that. They weren't coming back to Holodeck to do the thing, to do the missions. They eventually did go and play it as they maybe wanted to level up a character, but that could be sort of any time in the future. But they want people in now, and they do press releases and they spend money on getting more people in game through these launches. Just like when it comes to movies, you have a very small selection of people that would have access to the previews, but then for the actual seeing of the movie, you have a big launch.
And yet at the same time,
put it this way: the little microtransactions is pretty much people getting up and getting themselves a popcorn and a drink to drink while watching the movie. That's pretty much all that is. It's just an extra bonus that they'll get. But it's just the simple fact is that people, what they really want is people just sitting down and logged on.
If we're going to go the whole movie analogy, having people at the premiere, that's great. Having people at the theater watching it, that's great. A movie really doesn't see its turnaround in sales, or it used to not to, until its release on DVD or VHS way back when, or now in digital sales. So when you have a movie that in the first couple of weeks doesn't make $1 billion, is that a failure? No. Why treat a video game like that? Why treat a launch like, people weren't here the first week, we're a failure? Why do that? It makes no sense to me. Why do that?
Yeah, well, there is some truth in that. I know that there was a period of time they were discussing on the sort of like after to bring out the 2800 Cardassian series where they have the ships come back from the wormhole after the Dominion War. That particular storyline, I know they were sort of like talking about that because they're sort of like not making the money they were hoping to at the first weekend and stuff like that. But they must admit they do need to still, I think, as well as a long-term goal. They'll probably find they had a lot more people playing it now, especially now with the Delta recruiting, than probably what they had when they had it first launched. So they've got to start thinking they've got to be in here for the long haul more than just doing something for the short term.
But it also brings up another point. When you do this and you want people in here now, you have this issue with, okay, people played it on Tribble, so they're not playing it right now. Guess what happens when you bring out a new thing in a couple of months that they don't have access to Tribble for? It means whatever the hell they played on Tribble, they're going to probably want because they liked it and they wanted it. They're going to have to go and get it now on the live server so they can play the new stuff. It in the long run, yeah, sure, locking out Tribble, that was a great idea. For some instances. But blaming people going and playing it and not spending time in game, that's ridiculous. Because at the end of the day, Tribble is always going to be Tribble. And the live server is always going to be the live server. And if people play the content on Tribble and get the little ship on Tribble or get their whatever on Tribble, they're going to have to eventually get it on the live server if they want to continue doing that thing. Period.
Yes, but just like when it comes to the movies, as we've been sort of explaining their like, all the metrics are done for the launch of a product, not that we've had so many people watch it since. It was what did it take in at launch?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show, just for example, the Rocky Horror Picture Show was a complete box office failure. It found its cult calling and now has like millions of dollars into it after like a home release.
Yeah, but that's one out of how many?
Not everything can be a blockbuster, and to make everything a blockbuster is just as insane as expecting everything to be a blockbuster.
But the thing is, when the people who are saying, right, you have this amount of money to spend on development, they say, okay, we want to do these featured episodes. Okay, well, how many people played it on launch? Oh, well, we've had this amount of people since then. It's all, the figures are always going to be about what happens on launch day or sort of show day. Now, this year, people have complained in the past that sort of content was scarce, new content. So this year, they've said we'll have a continuous stream of things coming out. And between events and all these featured episodes we've been getting, we have gone from one event to another featured episode to another event.
Well, I said this back when they took away the hourlies. This was where they were going with it. That in between a season release, they were going to have like the Crystalline Entity event or the Mirror event or something just to keep people playing.
And it seems to be working.
Well, okay, yeah, sure. But at the same time, having the hourlies was working as well. you could kind of plan when you needed to be in game, and you could stay in game for hours on end, as you know, if you knew the schedule.
Yeah, but
And
the
it
thing
didn't
is,
take too much to
people.
look at the schedule.
But the thing is, with the daily, with the hourlies, the dailies, people don't think, oh, I have to get in. If they've got a special event where you have got special prizes, then you get a lot more people logging in for that special shiny to run that event, which is what they're after.
So wait. Are you saying Delta Rising was Cryptic bribing us to play the game? I can't believe that.
I wouldn't go to say bribing, but it's a promotion. You do a launch of
Incentive.
something. Yeah, it's an incentive.
Okay,
It's
so
like,
when I go to Capitol Hill with $1 million, I'll make sure to tell my local politician this is not a bribe, it's an incentive. Just saying.
Yeah, well, it's still like one person's saying is another person's interpretation. One person might be saying it's an incentive when the other person could easily be saying it's a bribe. Just as much as Salakia is saying, well, it's just a road toll. It's a tax. So, but probably need to put it into a bit of a conclusion here because we're starting to run out of time. But you probably could say, well, it's people's choice. People have the right to choose what they want to do in this game. They can easily choose on what they don't want to, if they want to play this game or not. Just as much as what the development team in Cryptic Studios they made their choices. They just got to realise that their choices got to be make sure it's the right choices because it could easily cost them their jobs. So but in the day, it's their choice. This is what they want to do. That's what they want to do. It might not be the right thing to do, but it's in the day, it's their choice.
but at least, unlike other companies that I've heard of and even seen, at least Cryptic have actually listened to people's feedback and they've actually changed something. We are now getting something different than what we were going to be. So, yes, it may not be what a lot of people wanted, but they have said, okay, well, we still need to do this because of, but what we're going to do is this as well. Whereas there's a lot of other companies out there that wouldn't do it.
I'm definitely, as much of a discussion as this has caused, not just with us, but like with other podcasts and even on the forums, I'm more than eager to see, and I probably never will, but I'm more than eager to see the metrics from this year's event, just because. And if they get more people playing the game, cool. If they don't, and they start firing people or stuff starts happening that is counterproductive to people playing the game, it's not our fault. We didn't play because you made it you made it inopportune for us to play. That's where I want to leave it. If things happen and people don't play the content and you want to scrap the whole thing or completely change this, that, or the other, just remember, we said from the start this kind of wasn't a good thing. And now that you have to change it because there's no thing out there, it wasn't, it's not our fault. At least initially, it's not our fault. We chose not to play because we didn't like it.
Yeah, which is how people show that they're not interested in content. And if their figures show that what they have done hasn't worked, then there will be more changes to come and different changes to come when it comes to the next event.
I just hope it's for the better and not the worse.
I suppose only time will tell.
I suppose also you got to be careful too on what sort of changes you make because it could easily make people very, very tired of these changes.
The
So
changes
you
that they
might
have,
need to make sure it's right in the first place.
but the changes they have announced about having account unlock ships, um, I like. It'll be good if they move that over to not just the reward ships, that it expands to other ships in game, so such as Lobie and Lockbox. That would be very cool. But I guess we'll have to wait to see how that system gets integrated and where that one goes. And I'm sure that will be.
There'll be more information coming out.
Yeah, well, this is the very first blog.
So we've got
yeah.
plenty to discuss about. Maybe
It's
more to
definitely
argue
one
about.
way to start the whole thing. Just, hey, here's some bad news, guys, on top of we're nerfing XP and we're taking away this and we're removing that. It's one hell of a way to start the summer vacation, isn't it?
Well, this is the first blog out of, I'm sure, very many. So I guess we'll find out more about what's going on in the coming weeks. So, but yeah, at the moment we only know of some of the changes being made, not all of them. So, for all we know, all of this stuff is related to all the other stuff that's happening. So, but we will talk about those as they come out, and we'll have
Also, I think,
discussions.
remembering from last year that the Riser event came out at the beginning of July, I think the last year.
Yeah, I think it was the end of June, beginning of July, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Run right through till end of August, I believe.
Yeah. Now, it could be because of these changes, they're actually going to have the summer event running longer. We don't know. So we might even get it a little bit earlier.
Give the people who go to Vegas the opportunity to get these things.
Yeah, because there's things like that. There's people having holidays, so by having more time for people to play would be better. But of course, one of the reasons that they probably made this change, not only because given the amount of time they had already, so many people had been hoarding, but how much more would they be able to hoard if they'd actually extended the event? So, yeah, one of the reasons why this could be coming out now as well is because they're, say, planning to do this from, I don't know, mid-June or something. We don't know yet. We have had one bit of information, and it's literally been about the pearls, and that's it. We don't know what the ship is. We don't know what extra little costumes are going to be available, what other sort of mini games might be available. Yeah, we've got a lot more information still to come. And one of the things I did keep saying on the forums is we know that they're making this change, but yeah, we don't know why. We're sort of, I was waiting on clarification, which
that was
the
a mistake
VP
from the
responded
get-go.
himself. Yeah, but the thing is all this, it's marketing. But unfortunately, they started it with, we're taking this away. So it didn't really help the fact that there was stuff missing, which really needed to have been said. But yeah, hopefully if this sort of thing does happen again, they'll make sure there is a proper explanation to why, so we know. And so that we don't have the uproar that there was. Anyway, that's about it for this week. Yep, had a bit of a long discussion about this, but it's been fun.
I guess we can push out one bit of Trek news.
Oh, I forgot to look at that. The only thing I remember coming out is the replicator. Let's have a look. Yeah, show notes. Yep. Yeah, we've got a few minutes. Did you wanna? You put it in there, son. So, you wanna say what it's all about?
Oh, I have to bring up the link. Give me a second. Okay.
Wait, hang on a second.
Okay, so literally, the thing posted today on StarTrek.com was a pair of, I think they're Israeli entrepreneurs, came up with a system called the Genie, which is a device that kind of echoes the replicator from Star Trek. And it's essentially a lot like, if you read a lot of the stuff, it's essentially a lot like what people have been trying to do with 3D printers, but with food. And that it's a system that's designed to hold a bank of food, such as dried fruits or an assortment of like flaked or dried things like dough or eggs or what have you.
You've got the ingredients, basically.
Right, essentially the ingredients, and then the system essentially makes a meal out of that. And after so long, the system itself will become accustomed to your tastes, making stuff that's better for you and might even be tastier than what you're used to. And the two go on to say that a lot of this idea came from the idea that, you know, a lot of the third world countries have nothing, and us first world countries are literally just throwing away food. This would be a chance to kind of level the field of who has access to food and who doesn't.
Yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see where this leads. So, especially with sort of all the food shortages that's happening, and yeah, something like that could be very useful for what's happening over at Nepal and things like that.
Imagine how many other problems we could solve if we ended people being hungry.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I think it's going to be another sort of 5-10 years before it becomes, I'd say, anywhere near sort of commercially available to sort of be of sort of proper use to people. So yeah, definitely something to keep an eye out for the future.
Anyway, guys, that's the show. He's
Just
Midnight. That's Woody over there. I'm Sunseal. Hey, check us out on all the socials. Whatever.
Just one quick, or a couple of quick reminders. The Kickstarter for the Captain Pike film that we discussed in the previous shows, that's still ongoing. So if you'd like that to become a reality, go and support them. So just do a search for Star Trek Captain Pike on Kickstarter, and the link will be in our show notes. You can also find us syndicated on trekradio.net and subspace-radio.net on Wednesdays. So please check them out. If you would like to get in contact with us, we are on all the social networks. So Twitter, Facebook, and Star Trek Riser. You can find us at Tribbles in XTC. And on Reddit, it's Tribbles in Ecstasy in full. And the same for Google+. Alright, thank you everybody for joining us. And we will catch you next time. Take care, everyone.
Joel on True.
Night.
Thanks for Toot's broadcast of Tribbles in Ecstasy, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check Holosuite Media, iTunes, and Stitcher Satellite Radio for our remastered shows and more. You can follow us on Twitter at TribblesInXTC, or if you have any questions or comments, please send an email to tribblesinEcstasy@gmail.com. Join us next week for another episode of Tribbles in Ecstasy, the only place where Tribbles and Klingons are friends.